Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Empowering Voices. Today, we have a special guest directly from my beloved country, Italy. Welcome, Antonella. We are so happy to have you today. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
And we are very excited because Antonella has a very specific job. And she will tell us what she does, and then we will go back to understand why and how she got there. But first of all, you remember we always start our conversation with one of the words embroidered on my pieces. The word we chose for today that resonates with our guest is curiosity. For those of you who are watching as well, this is the piece. I just remind you, you can find it on my website. There are sales going on still for a little while. But welcome, tell us everything. So why curiosity to start with?
Curiosity is just the right word. I mean, when you asked me to select a word, it was funny because I did something similar in terms of selecting one word to define me last October into like a group webinar. And the organizer asked us to choose a word, and I selected curiosity because I think it's really what describes me most. I mean, I am curious, which means I'm always interested to learn, but not just learning in terms of like academic things, not like getting degrees or master degrees, in terms of, oh, this is interesting, let me know about it. Or like, oh, what do you mean by this? Mostly not because I remember everything. I mean, sometimes I simply forget it, but
we are human. Our brain doesn't work like perfection.
But as a matter of trying to understand little things, especially I would say people, like I like to try understand why people do things that they do, but also all the small curiosities that, I mean, I find very interesting to know and to learn. So that's me.
Amazing. I really share this passion with you. Actually, I'm constantly overwhelmed because I want to know as much as I can of whatever is my interest in that moment. And that takes me to something else that I suppose you are part of, because I feel like part of a group. I recently, a couple of years ago, I found out that there's a name to define myself. I'm a multi-passionate person, and I can feel that you are on the same boat. And that can be good and bad. Of course, it's amazing because your curiosity is supported by your passions, but sometimes we open too many doors. Does it happen to you as well?
Yeah, you mean the multi-potentialite thing. Yeah. I discovered there was this word, I would say like a few weeks ago, really, not too many.
Very recent.
Yes. It happened by chance, by this algorithm, via LinkedIn or something like that. And I saw this word, I was like, what does it mean? And yes, I discovered it resonates with me. Indeed, curiosity and willingness to learn, it's part of what multi-potentialite like us are. It is too much sometimes. I mean, you have to learn to manage it because sometimes you just got distracted with many things, and not that you want to avoid your main job, but that's, I want to know this and this. And this sensation of, this feeling of life is not enough. But I also feel like, especially since I read a little bit more about this, and I'm sure you also read something about it, and advices on how to manage it, this superpower, as I call it. I found out that it's quite useful for my job anyway. I mean, can I say what I do?
Of course. We are getting there exactly. I think it's not a coincidence, your way to approach life and what you do in life. Okay. Please tell us.
Okay, so I am an educational consultant, which in Italy means that I help students, usually teenagers, that wants to study abroad UK is one of their favorite countries usually, by the way, US and Canada and so on. So I help them to find out what is their most suitable field of study, which is the most suitable school or boarding school if they are teenagers, or university if they are a bit older, and support them to find the right choice and apply to the admission process and so on. And I find that, as I said, quite recently I reflected into this, and I thought curiosity has been helping me a lot with this job, because, as I said, not that I know everything, but it's very useful because you can imagine, you advise students, and one time one wants to study medicine, the other one wants to study fashion, the other one wants to study engineering. I did classical studies, by the way. So even if I'm not specialized in all these fields, most of the times I can say, oh, I heard about that. Or if not, let me have a few days and then I will investigate with that.
Exactly. For your curiosity, you are going there and learn as much as you can to advise people.
Sometimes it happens that some students say, oh, do you know, I want to study this, or I want a school with this sport, but I'm sure you don't heard about it. I was like, oh, yes, I did actually, don't worry. Oh, really? Good. Explain everything. So it also helps to find a bit of reciprocal empathy, I would say.
Of course.
Of course, if I don't know enough, I will always refer to specialists. That's important for this to come to know. I cannot do everything. And also the reason why curiosity resonates with my job as well is that it's a kind of job that you cannot do properly if you're not willing to learn all the time. I mean, you always have to be updated about academic topics or academic systems, changes in school regulations, but also new professions, new courses, or even new, different study methods, different learning methods. Otherwise, I cannot advise anyone.
Of course. And those guys, those people, those teenagers, most of the time are trusting you for their future. Because a choice of this kind is not, of course, there's I don't know if you advise also for a short, like an English course abroad, probably you do, but also especially for those who take 1 year abroad, for example, that can change definitely their life. It cannot be taken in a light way. It's so important. You have a responsibility, definitely.
Yes. I quite feel the responsibility. I always am very happy, I would say, when every family that decide to contact me and to start a pathway together, because it's really a pathway. It doesn't end and start and finish today. Just imagine you contact me today, and it will take, I would say, a year before your child will start their students. And then during the year or the 2 years, if it's a diploma, whatever it is, we might be in contact again. So it's a long reciprocal knowledge process. We do this trip together a lot. So it's always, I'm always grateful if they decide to to refer to me as a guide, as a mentor, I would say, not a guide.
Yeah.
They decide, but I'm trying to help them. That's what I do. That's another reason why I think curiosity is very important. If you're not interested to know why they want to study something, why let's say parents are worried about something or not worried about something, the different.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be a psychological support, I think, for the student, but also for the family, because it's not easy. Sometimes they are too young and the family needs to be reassured that it's fine to do to make a choice of this kind.
And we are both Italian. We know that our way of approaching the idea of a child meaning 40 years old.
For us, it's a child at 40 as well. So
it's difficult. Of course, every country, every nationality has its own peculiarities. But Italian parents tend to be tend to care a lot, and it's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, the balance between caring too much and allowing space to the child to find their way, it's a different balance. So it's always fun. I mean, it's always also very nice when they come back. And let's say years ago, there was a mother saying, "Oh, I'm very happy for my son that he learned how to do chores at home. Now he has," and I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting."
Yeah, it's not just the study, because it's an experience of life, and it's so important. When I did mine, well, this is ages ago, so it's another generation. I didn't learn only English. I didn't learn only another culture. I learned to live alone. That is sometimes difficult in Italy, to cut the umbilical cord. And I did it quite late in life. So I'm happy to hear that there are teenagers doing it today, because it's important to start as soon as possible.
Yeah. For me, it was the same. I mean, I did the experience abroad when I was at the university. So, and living with other students, I was in a hostel because I mean, I was an adult at the time, and living with them, sharing some spaces, was not always very nice. I mean, as every shared accommodation is. Doing my shopping at the grocery store was not easy.
Manage the money, because that is something we are not really thought enough.
Yeah. So, but I would say it's the same even if you don't study abroad. Even, I mean, in Italy we have a long tradition of people going from south to north to study the university. Even that experience is fine. I mean, not that.
Of course.
But just finding, I mean, what I believe in is that it's not that abroad is better. I mean, not that I know the school system is better. I think there's no perfect school system or university system. I wish it was, but there isn't. I'm studying this since many years, but there isn't. There's just the one who might be better for you. The one school who would allow you to shine, I would say, to be yourself, to find out who you are, which are your strengths, what can you do, and to also to broaden your horizons, to find different opportunities, because sometimes, I mean, it works like this for everyone. If you stay in the same place all your life and the same people, you have the same kind of expectations. If you go out, just a little bit out, just opens so many horizons and gives you so many ideas about what can you do in your life.
New adventures, really. I like to see them as an adventure, because it's very exciting, especially when you are 14.
At the same time, I was noticing that curiosity is important for them when they wish to go, because you have all kinds of students. I have students who are very determined, like, okay, I want to study medicine. So fine, it's an easy job, I would say, in that case, like it's medicine, best school, and then, But then there are students who don't really know, especially, I mean, 16 years old, what they want to study, but they just know that I want to go abroad. I want to know, I mean, the most frequent sentences, I want to go abroad to see different people, different way of living. And that curiosity is, I mean, what drives them. I mean, it's just they drive, never mind how long, never mind what they will learn. At the same time, if they're not curious, but maybe they're doing because they're bored at home, or because their parents push them to do this, it doesn't work.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they don't make the most of the experience because it's easy to go abroad and then isolate yourself. I find it's very easy, sad and easy. So sometimes you go back home and you had a terrible experience, but just because you didn't have one in reality.
Yeah, and also in some cases, it's something I thought about it this year. I mean, well, after pandemic, I had a lot of time to think about it, everyone. Also, the way I was addressing my job, and I thought that not the lack of curiosity, but also lack of preparation sometimes causes them to look for exactly the same experience as they have at home, which of course is impossible. Same kind of people, same habits, and then crisis happens. Sometimes they go through them and then discover something new. Sometimes, as you said, the experience doesn't give them enough, simply because if we are close to new things, new things don't come to us. But
definitely.
It's okay. I always say, never mind, and don't watch to others. I mean, don't think about your schoolmate did a longer experience, so they had fun, you didn't. Never mind. I mean, everyone is different. So even if you fail, it's still worse. I mean, well,
you learned something. There's always a learning, at least the fact that most of them, I suppose, are for the first time on a plane, for example, on their own, at least.
Now, I mean, 10 years ago, yes. Now, I mean, they're more used to travel, but there are still some which...
But on their own, maybe at 14 is the first experience. So just already to start that, or to go in a different building. I mean, if I think of where I went to university, and when I arrived in London, it was, oh my goodness, I mean, a big shock that sometimes it's scary because it's everything big, everything, also everything works in a very specific way in each country, although there are general rules, but then you have to learn that. And sometimes it's scary. I remember the first time, I have to say, I pushed myself, because when I'm scared, I need to do that thing exactly. But then when you go over that learning curve, and then you feel the freedom, it's so amazing. As you said, also, if you just change town in Italy, but going abroad, you have another challenge, that is the language, that is the culture, that is the food. Because I remember when I came to London, in the supermarket, you hardly could find pasta. Our pasta, I mean, our brands. The first time I brought from home some spaghetti. How come that? While then enjoying what happens in the country. It's fantastic. And now I've traveled a lot to say that. And if you have a guidance like you, because you tell the student also sometimes what to expect, what to avoid the disappointment, and that is invaluable. It's not just a travel agent, right? What you do.
No, it's not. That's a good point. I mean, I don't know if you are familiar with this. In Italy, my job doesn't exist, I would say, because the traditional way since decades in Italy to send kids abroad is to go to a big agency, which used to be a travel agency, but then they changed to, let's say, language travel. Then you join a group of people and you go abroad for 2 weeks in summer, or same thing for high school abroad in, let's say, in the US. What I found out over the years, I mean, I'm in this field since 2005, so it's a long time now. And myself, I went through managing a travel agency, which was a language travel agency, and then after 2020, going on my own, working as an educational consultant. I did this change because I know that it's not just, I mean, the big investment in terms of money that people spend for their child. It's also because every single student deserves its own opportunity, his or her own opportunity. So the idea of the big tour operator that will send you abroad with all the other students and you do the same experience doesn't work for me. I mean, it's just might be fine as well, but turns out to be quite disappointing, or you miss a lot. So, I mean, if I have two friends or even two brothers coming to me, the one of them will be different from the other. And so they decide to have different experiences, different schools, even different countries. Or even at the end, you might find out that one doesn't want to travel and the other one wants. So, you know, the first one was just say, okay, maybe I come as well. So what I try to do through interviews to students and the family, it's, as I said, it's a long process to find the reason why they want to do this, and then start from there and going.
Yeah, so it's exactly the opposite as the classical way. Instead of giving them 3 options that are the 3 for everyone, you give them any option in reality, but the one that is right for them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is fantastic, because of course I've been on one of these experiences through an agency, and compared to the ones then I did afterwards, yeah, you miss a lot, I have to say. It's a first approach anyway. Yeah,
I was saying, I think in some cases it's find their way. I mean, that way, especially if you are very young, if you've never been away from your family, if you want to travel with a friend. So it's still a good way. I mean, that one. But what happens to me over the years is that after their first experience of that kind, people come to me and say, my son did this, I want something different. Or now that we did this, we are confident that he can stay.
To do something more serious.
Or, like so it goes both ways. And for me, it's more rewarding, to be honest. I mean, because it's a one-to-one approach. It's really get to know the students and the parents. So
because of course you follow them along the adventure during and afterwards. I'm sure they tell you, I don't know what happened, and it's so rewarding to hear the stories, good and bad, because there will be experiences of any kind, of course.
It's nice, and sometimes it's like I have lots of nephews and nieces. So after 2 years, when now most of the times you see them through, let's say, Skype or Zoom or whatever, like video calls. And it's like, how you became so tall and so. But I interviewed the students, I think before Easter, and I mean, for an interview I was writing for my blog, and the one question, I mean, I asked him many questions about the experience, how was going on, and then so on. And the one question that made him, let's say, lighting, it was like, do you think this experience, would you advise to do this experience for the people? And he was like, I don't think everyone can do this. He was very proud to say this. I mean, it was like, I know many of my friends might not be either interested, brave enough, or, it's very hard to leave out my friends and to miss out the daily routine with them. So it was like, he was saying, he was very proud of himself. And I think.
But you come back changed anyway, even if it was just for 2 weeks. So imagine if they go on a longer journey, maybe 1 year abroad. And I have a friend who studied in China. And straight after the senior school, so she was 18, she was very young. And in China, they were very strict. She came back completely changed, also with a lot to say in a negative way, because she was cut off her family completely. For 1 year, they didn't see each other. But that helped a lot. Now she's a successful financial advisor. She works for Bloomberg. That paid off, because eventually at the end of the day, what are we looking for? To have the brightest future. And this is a little seed to go abroad and have an experience of that kind, short or long or whatever it will be.
Yeah, also I realized over the years, sometimes it happened to have some discussions with, let's say, teachers or people saying, oh, but it's not that abroad is better. I never said that, to be honest. I never said abroad is better. But it's just, it's not that when you go abroad, you must stay abroad. No one says that you are doing your diploma abroad and then you have to stay abroad. Or even if you got grade abroad. That's not the meaning of it. The meaning of it is that you can make your choice. That's what I mean. You can make your choice to either stay abroad, coming back and do something different, something that no one else did, or even coming into your family business and run it, which was still your destiny, I would say. But now you have an additional point of view, and it's your decision, not your parents' decision. is, I mean, even if you did the same thing at the end that you were meant to do, but now at least you are conscious about it. That's, I think, the most important thing.
Yeah, you're totally right.
I think there are not so many experiences, especially because of the way the Italian school is, which is very formalized, to question yourself about what do you want to do, what you are good at, which is your aptitude. Something especially like among all the different experiences abroad, which I advise about my students is, for example, boarding schools, which I think, especially the English ones, because they are places where you study a lot, but you have so many opportunities. I mean, like they have theater department, arts and sports and music, that every time I go to business schools, like, can I stay, please?
Yes, you're right.
And that's really something that I wish I did when I was a child, because it's such a great place to do as much as you like aside your school subjects if you want to do this. In Italy, you have to build your schedule, like you go to school, and then if you want to,
you have everything outside,
do music, and then you also have to study. Of course you have to study, it's very difficult, and sometimes your teachers don't really look at you very nicely if you do too many activities, because
you take away time from the academic part.
In the Anglo-Saxon system, I would say, because US is the same, the time you pay to, the time you spend to do other activities is seen as a good opportunity for yourself to grow up. And that's something that students perceive as well. So that's one of the reasons, I would say, why they want to try.
Also because it's a great opportunity to understand what you want, because, for example, my children, of course, in the English system, for physical education, they don't do always the same thing like it is in the Italian school. Each term they change sport, so they are exposed to sport that, you don't choose to do, hockey, and then you sign up and then you don't go. But at school, they are exposed and they can like it and not, but then they can decide to go on with that passion. And that is for many activities. My daughter, she's a bit older and she does cooking. She uses 3D printers. She does wood carving. Everything. And that's so important. As you said, in Italy, we need to look for these courses outside the school. That is fine anyway, but it costs more time, more effort, and sometimes more money, of course.
Yeah, and as you said, if you have to look for them outside of your school, you will look for the one already that you like. Let's say I like swimming, then I will go for swimming. I will never go for theater because I'm shy and so on. But if you are in the school where everyone has to choose one sport every term, and then everyone is encouraged to do its part into the end of year theater performance, you must do something. Not because you're punished, but because
it's part of the curriculum anyway.
And you still learn something. First of all, you learn if you like it or not. You may discover something that you never considered. It stays with you afterwards. Even in older age, in adult age, you might realize that working as a team to do, your business project in school helped you to understand how to manage money or how to organize your time and to do a presentation or whatever, or playing in a team, even in a sport you didn't really like in school, you learned how to give space, how to, get trained and so on. So they're all soft skills that you cannot teach formally.
Yeah, exactly.
To teach them formally, it's so boring.
Yeah, exactly. No, you need the experience, hands-on.
Presentation skills with a teacher in front of you, it's terribly boring. Professionals can do this because they're conscious about it, but teenagers can't. So I was speaking to a teacher some time ago, and she was saying, she was also a counselor, she was saying, learning goes better if it comes through experience, through interest. So, and it's true. I mean, we can say this. Well, you know, I mean, as I said, if I'm curious about something, and there we go again, I'm motivated to spend 1 hour to look into how it's called, the kind of numb which is today in the sky. It's something happened to me, honestly.
Yeah.
But if I'm not curious, of no one taught me why should I be interested into, why it's nice to know about history and so on, I would just learn on memory, and I would forget the day.
Yeah. Straight after. Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. It's so inspiring, because I have to say, I would have loved, as you said, as well, to study in a boarding school when I was younger. I studied foreign languages and literature exactly because then I wanted to go abroad, and I did it. Of course, there are pros and cons in every educational system, and we are talking about UK specifically, but then you have the rest of the world. I think UK is what they ask for the most, your students, but I'm sure there's Spain a lot, and US as well.
Well, I'm focusing on UK, US, and Canada, especially because those are the most requested countries, and because there's something common between them, among them, in terms of the approach to the educational system, the extracurricular time, and so on. Never mind. I mean, actually, never mind the country you select. It's just, you know, the why you want to do this, and the right choice for you to be yourself. Or there's one word the boarding schools use a lot when you talk to them and they describe the way they work, and it's to flourish. And then I love this word, because it means that no one knows what you are, but they encourage it, and they give you space, and put you with water, if you want to use this kind of metaphor, so that you can grow up and flourish the way you are, whatever flower you are, whatever, you know, talent you have, or inspiration you have.
You're right. It's a beautiful metaphor, because it gives you freedom. You don't feel like in a box where you have to fit in, because we are all different. We are so different from each other that we need our path. And yeah, you're right. But of course, you know, but I was shocked when we moved here permanently to find out that there is a school expert. I mean, a professional person that advises you on the school here in the UK, not to go abroad or anything, in the UK, which is the right school for you among the schools in your area. I mean, reachable, easily reachable. And it took time to decide because also, I mean, maybe the mission of the school is different. Some schools are more on the, I don't know, music, some schools on art, others are extremely academic, others a bit more nurturing. It's a completely different word. So for you from Italy, of course, you have this job as well to explain to them that not every school fits everyone. Yeah.
Is what you say. It's what I think. I mean, it's kind of, as a school would have its own personality, the school itself or the university itself, because they're all founded in terms of the teaching style, or the values they want to carry on, or the focus in terms of academic. There are schools more for music or for art or something. So it's a matter of finding the right personalities for the school, for the right personality of the student, which is really nice. I'm afraid I will not be able to do the same for Italian schools, because I mean the system is very different. Once again, not bad or worse, it's just different. So how would you think there are different two schools in the same area in Rome, if they offer the same curriculum, the same subjects? They're the same, I would say. Right? That's something I like as well with my job. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see that you are very passionate and you light up when you talk about it. I always ask my guests if there is, okay, you told us the word flourish is definitely your word. Do you have any other, a quote maybe, or some other words that
I would
also are
say
dear to you?
that if you go to my LinkedIn profile, there is like a background image, which I have to change a little bit. But the background image, there's a sentence that says, education can change the world. I would like to change it and put it, education can change your life. Then, of course, the world, because it happened with me. I mean, and yourself, as you said, I mean, we went abroad, we learned English, we opened up new opportunities to new possibilities of speaking to other people, to see new things. And then I really think that curiosity and education can really change your life. And then you can also, I believe that can change the world, because if you change your approach to life, you can do your little bit to change the world around you. So that's my general idea.
Yeah,
It's
it's beautiful. It's
beautiful.
beautiful, and I totally agree. I just want to remind everyone that, of course, all the details to reach out to Antonella are in the post, in the bio, and on the podcast platforms that you will choose to listen, on YouTube, on my website, I mean, everywhere. And you can always reach out to me in case you need to reach out to Antonella. So thank you very much. It was very inspiring. Now I want to learn something else. Actually, I always have in my head to start a PhD. So I will do it. I will do it. It's never too late. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. And speak to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.